Welcome to Poetry with Shing, where we uncover the beauty behind poetry. Today we'll be doing the poem The Planners, written by Boey Cheng. So to start off, I will be reading the poem. They plan, they build. All spaces are gridded, filled with permutations of possibilities. The buildings are in alignment with the roads, which meet at desired points, linked by bridges all hang in the grace of mathematics. They build and will not stop. Even the sea draws back and the skies surrender. They erase the flaws, the blemishes of the past, knock off useless blocks with dental dexterity. All gaps are plugged with gleaming gold. The country wears perfect rows of shining teeth. Anesthesia, amnesia, hypnosis. They have the means. They have it all, so it will not hurt. So history is new again. The piling will not stop. The drilling goes right through the fossils of last century. But my heart would not bleed poetry. Not a single drop to stain the blueprint of our past's tomorrow. Alright, now let's dive deep into the poem. So first we'll be looking at the title, The Planners. The planners, in this case, planners referring to urban planning. So the job of urban planners are to decide on the use of space and how they map out the layout of a country or a town. So how they decide on the use of space is to determine the development of the space projected maybe 10-20 years from now. And also they decide not only on the development of the space but also the purpose of the space. What is the space going to be used for? What kind of amenities are going to be constructed there in the future? And when they are deciding on the use of space, they tend to divide the space into different parts and they allocate the different parts for different functions, as you will see through the imagery employed in the poem that we're looking at today. So let's start with the first line. They plan, they build, all spaces are gridded. So the word choice plan reveals the urban planners' idea of development in the country, and it also raises the question about what's happening to nature, because when humans plan and they build, often nature is not included in the picture, and many a times we will start to destroy nature. So you notice that the pronoun they is used, so it's like there is a sense of detachment and distancing of the speaker of the poem and the urban planners. Next, all spaces are gridded, and the connotation of gridded is that it could be that the speaker is trying to point out urban planning as something possibly unnatural because it seems very rigid and very mechanical. So it also raises the question about what the planners did to achieve the unnatural environment, which is very, very different from what we see in nature. So gridded in its denotation is that it is simply points and lines in a very, very structured way, and it is also kind of a mathematical term. Filled with permutations of possibilities, and you see permutations of possibilities here is the use of alliteration, so it brings rhythm to the poem and possibly to show that with urban planning a lot of things become very dull and systematic, possibly even very rhythmic and very routine-like, which adds to a bit of like the dullness of life in a space that is very well planned. The buildings are in alignment with the roads, so this use of alignment again shows precision, accuracy, and this unnatural mechanical falseness to the whole city. So the buildings are in alignment with the roads which meet at desired points, so everything is perfect. There's a sense of utopia in the society, but whether or not the speaker actually agrees with this seemingly utopian society is another matter. Which meet at desired points linked by bridges all hang in the grace of mathematics. That's why we see that in this stanza a lot of the words used are actually mathematical. And the phrase grace of mathematics also shows how everything is calculated to the very exact. So it actually again brings back the point of precision and unnaturalness in the built environment, actually perpetrated by the urban planners. They build and will not stop. Even the sea draws back and the sky surrender. So the sea drawing back and the sky surrendering is a very, very vivid imagery, and also an employment of personification. So the sea drawing back, it shows that the sea is intimidated, it is retreating, and it is possibly referring to the reclamation of land to make space for more development in a country. So the sea is very intimidated, it's very fearful of humans and the possible destruction that humans will do to the environment. And the sky surrender, so the diction of surrender is defeat, and it's possibly like linked to the idea of war, where maybe perhaps humans and nature are actually waging a war between each other. So the skies are surrendering. Why does sky surrender? Because of the presence of skyscrapers occupying both the land and also invading the skies. So the skies have given up in trying to fight back human development. So they erase the flaws, the blemishes of the past, knock off useless blocks with dental dexterity. So they erase the flaws. So firstly, erase obviously links back to the idea of elimination, and flaws is actually a very, very strong imagery of perfection. So again, it's a lot about precision, efficiency, and movement. There's a lot of things that are done very clean, swift, and very decisive. So it actually kind of reveals the cold human nature, where we are trying to make way for more development. The blemishes of the past. So the word choice of blemishes actually reveals the word choice of blemishes and useless actually reveals how the planners perceive the environment as something that old buildings spoil scenery, and also ruin their vision of the country as being very futuristic and being at the head of and spearheading technological advancements. So the blemishes of the past. So here the urban planners perceive history as something that is insignificant, it is useless, and it is merely a white elephant. Knock off useless blocks with dental dexterity. Dental dexterity in this case refers to speed and skill. So if you realize in the first stanza it's talking about mathematics, now they're talking about dentistry. So it's a lot about hard math and sciences, which are commonly perceived as disciplines with little emotion involved, but that may not be true. So all gaps are plugged with gleaming gold. So here we experience a bit of alliteration, and it refers also to the surgery on the environment. So how space is all used up to build showy buildings, because gleaming gold is very showy, it is like extravagant, and it is showing off the architecture and the wealth of the country. The country wears perfect rows of shining teeth. So this perfect rows of shining teeth reveals money and luxury, because usually to get rows of perfect teeth you need to do surgery to your teeth, which requires money, of course. Anesthesia, amnesia, hypnosis. So these three ideas are actually a form of listing with the rule of three employed by the poet, and it is also these three words actually refer to means to decrease pain when pulling teeth out. So anesthesia is to numb your gums, amnesia is to forget, so you lose memory, and hypnosis is to be controlled by something, like being hypnotized by something. So they have the means. Again, you see the use of the pronoun they, so it's again detachment. They have the means, they have it all, so it will not hurt. So it will not hurt here is quite striking, because the poet is trying to say that the urban planners have all the means and the ways to subject the people living in this town to, so that it will not hurt, to remove and forget history. So history is new again. The piling will not stop, the drilling goes right through. So piling and drilling, they're all words for construction, knock off as well, and they all refer to demolishing and destroying the past and heritage in the past. So the piling will not stop, it goes right through the fossils of last century. So it shows a continuous, repetitive, and never-ending, everlasting destruction of heritage, history, as well as the natural environment around us. but. So here you see in the last stanza the use of the word but is a twist, is a volta in the poem. But my heart would not bleed. So bleed refers to the hurting heart because of the sight of the destruction of what the poet used to know of the country. So but my heart would not bleed poetry, not a single drop, to stain the blueprint of our past tomorrow. So here, stain the blueprint being the plan of the future of the country, like the urban environment of the country. So in this case, since the poem does not stain the blueprint, so the blueprint is perfect. So it is just like what the urban planners wanted, that everything be perfect. So not a single drop to stain the blueprint of our past tomorrow, that being present. So the poet is trying to say probably that with seeing all this destruction in front of his eyes, he will still choose to let the urban planners continue what they are doing in order to not ruin what they have planned for the present. So that's all for this poem. This poem is The Planners by Boey Cheng. If you have any other poem that you want to be analysed, please write the name of the poet and poem in the comments below.